One, Aziza, thanks for joining me on Upfront. As president of Malaysia's People's Justice Party, the PKR, and leader of the opposition, you're now in coalition with a party led by former Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad. That's the same Mahathir who less than 20 years ago backed the imprisoning of your husband, the then Deputy Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, in what many described as a politically motivated prosecution. Some people might be asking, how desperate for power are you that you've effectively done a deal with the devil? You've done a deal with the man accused of locking up your own husband.
Of course not. If you look at that way, that Mahathir has come to us, to opposition, that means how bad is Najib Razak, the man that Mahathir himself chose, handpicked to become
Prime Minister,
the current Prime Minister. So that's how it shows that we need change, and the change of government in Malaysia is much desired by the people. So it's not alliance with the devil, no. And if the man himself, Anwar Ibrahim, could forgive, and as the saying goes, to err is human, to forgive divine.
To forgive is one thing, but your husband, Anwar Ibrahim, is the one who said in 2015 that a Mahathir-led removal of Najib without real reform will only satisfy some cronies. It will do nothing to bring about real change for the people. You and your husband are now basically empowering those same cronies he mentioned by working with Mahathir today.
I don't agree. We didn't ask him to join. He joined us out of his own free will.
So you believe he's changed his approach to politics, to democracy, to human rights?
Well, some of the ways, I'm sure he has its old ways. But the fact that he wants to change the present government, steeped in kleptocracy, kleptocrat government, I'm saying the Malay word for it, and how much that we have to change the government because of the dire conditions.
But you're still, just to be clear, you're willing to work with him without a formal apology on his part for the role he played in your husband's downfall?
We have to go beyond that. If I'm going to wait for an apology and make it such a big deal out of it, he has come. He has actually almost admitted, and now he is with us.
In the midst of pretty big economic problems for Malaysia and an ongoing corruption scandal in which the current Prime Minister Najib Razak is alleged to have received in his account more than $1 billion, mainly from the State Development Fund 1MDB, your party filed a no-confidence vote against him, but failed to oust him. Your critics say your party was too weak, too divided, and in a sense, the opposition is to blame for the fact that he's still in office today.
No, because the way Malaysia has been ruled, whatever you do, whatever you want to do, the government holds the strings. So it's kind of, your hands are tied and you want to make a move, it's difficult. That doesn't mean that the people are not supporting us. We had the popular votes, but to materialize it and to make it happen, that will be our most pressing.
But that's the point. You have the popular votes, you say. Public opinion was very critical of the Prime Minister over this corruption scandal, and yet your critics would say, through sheer incompetence, you and your fellow coalition parties, the DAP and others, could not bring about a no-confidence vote in Parliament that was successful. What does that say about the opposition?
We are a bit, it's seen to be fragmented, but we have had changes made, so we cannot give up. This is our country, this is our future. So we have to continue and do something, and I call for all Malaysians to do something about it.
Okay, so on the something, I mean, given the corruption allegations against the Prime Minister, it's easy for you as the opposition to give anti-Najib speeches, organise anti-Najib rallies, but what are you offering the voters aside from that? What alternative, credible, coherent vision are you offering Malaysia that the Prime Minister isn't?
If you look at some of the states that we control, Selangor is a case in point. It's a showcase of how a chief minister from the opposition, from my party, has ruled the state. And this is the richest state in Malaysia. And how it has come with a surplus budget, and now we've had free water, and then we also have healthcare benefits. Also in Penang, where I come from and where my constituency come from. I have a state constituency in Selangor. I have a parliamentary constituency in Penang. How the Chief Minister has done Penang good, and how it's cleaner, better, healthy Penang. So these are the things that we can showcase and say that, look, yes, we are not having any experience, but no experience in corruption, cronyism, and the wrong things that has happened to our country.
And yet, despite those successes that you point to at a local and state level, shouldn't you be leading in the polls? Shouldn't you be heading for an easy victory?
Malaysians are divided in the sense that you don't have free press. So they do not know, they can't make an informed decision of what we can offer. So that is one of the problems that we face. It's not a level playing field. The gerrymandering has gone so far that now, of course, we have actually stopped it. We managed to stop the delineation process. We went to the courts. We faced a lot of problems, but that doesn't mean that we have to give up.
Your former coalition of opposition parties was partly torn apart because the so-called Islamist party, the Pan-Malaysian Islamic Party, the PAS, had been pushing a controversial bill to enhance the power of Sharia courts in Kelantan state, which would mean harsher hudud punishments, things like lashings, stonings, amputations. Why on earth would you be willing to be in a coalition with a party proposing such a horrific and extreme law?
They have actually left us.
But you were in coalition with them at the time when they proposed
We were in a coalition, and that time they said the hudud was not the priority. They agreed on the federal constitution of our country. Islam is the state religion, with, of course, freedom of religion for others. And we already agreed on that. We talk about maqasid sharia. What is a priority that we need? Poverty eradication, education.
Some say that you can't win again without them as part of your coalition. Would you be willing to accept them back into your coalition while they're supporting this bill?
It doesn't go that way, because they are split, and the progressive ones, and especially the leaders from them, have now formed a new party, and they are with us.
Okay, but PAS and this bill, you want nothing to do with them?
We want the votes for the people on the ground.
You're trying to become the leader of Malaysia. Is it a red line for you?
Yes.
This hudud bill? Is it something you will never tolerate, accept?
Hudud, as a Muslim, of course, you just have to accept these are God's laws, but the implementation is different. Then you talk about how you're going to do it, priority, and I think I'm not in a position as an ulama to talk about it.
But you might be in a position as Prime Minister to legislate criminal justice laws and policies. Are you saying on your watch as Prime Minister of Malaysia there will be no quote-unquote hudud laws, no stonings, no amputations, none of that? Can you give that declaration here and now?
The declaration that hudud is not implemented unless all the things that are supposed to be in line of justice are there.
I get that's important, but just to clear it, so you're saying there's a situation where stoning might be acceptable in Malaysia?
Not in the near future.
Wan Aziza, you've been hailed as one of the most iconic female political figures in Southeast Asia. You're known for championing women's rights, political participation. You're a role model to many as leader of a political party. But will you actually become Malaysia's first female prime minister if the opposition wins the next election? Because some coalition allies of yours say, no, she'll just be an interim prime minister. Others have suggested Mahathir's son will be the opposition's candidate for prime minister. So can you confirm, A, whether you will definitely be the Prime Minister, and B, do you think you're facing misogyny in Malaysia?
Well, the Prime Minister of Malaysia will be the one who enjoys the support of the majority of the members of Parliament. So whoever gets that will become Prime Minister. If I get that, of course, I don't mind being the interim Prime Minister. It's a well-known fact.
Interim in terms of you would give up your seat if your husband were to be released from prison and pardoned and be allowed to take part in politics again?
Yes, it's part of the plan, because I am frank about it. It's not the position that I'm after, but I'm after a change of government. The BN government is one that we need to change.
But wouldn't a lot of women, Malaysian women, young women watching this say, that's pretty disappointing. Look, she's running this party while her husband's in prison. If they win, it'll be because of her leadership. She should be the Prime Minister. Why should she give up her seat to her husband if he gets released? Why are you a seat warmer? Why are you just a proxy for your husband? Why aren't you your own person?
Because I think, frankly, he's a better position. He's a better leader. He's a better administrator. He's a better guy for the job. Why not?
But he's not running for the job. He's in prison. He currently can't return to politics under his sentencing. Therefore, aren't you undermining your own message? Won't a lot of Malaysians say, well, what's the point of voting for her? She's not even the real leader. She's not even going to be a real prime minister.
No, because the thing is that if you take polls, and one of the polls show that Anwar is the man that is supposed to be the next prime minister, and the polls show that he is the most popular. So if there is no way...
That's fine. So you're accepting then that you're a seat warmer for your husband? You're keeping the seat warm for him to come back?
I don't mind, yeah.
Just on your husband, Anwar Ibrahim, when in 2015 the federal court upheld a controversial 5-year jail sentence imposed on him for an absurd and outrageous sodomy conviction, human rights groups condemned that decision as a major setback for human rights in Malaysia. What does his continued incarceration say about the state of Malaysian justice, the state of Malaysian democracy today, in your view?
It's not independent, the judiciary. The judges are appointed by the Prime Minister, and even the Attorney General is appointed by the Prime Minister. And now, of course, whatever Anwar has gone through, the judges that gave him that sentence then are now promoted to be the Chief Judge of Malaysia. Well, we hope that, you know, whatever is that faces us and the obstacles that are in place, we still continue, because whatever is that we do is for our future, whether or not it gets or not, inshallah, it's part of the thing that we have to continue.
Wan Aziza, thank you for joining me on Upfront.
Thank you.